By far the easiest, most effective and fastest way to become more attractive, to become irresistible to women, is to get lean, to get to a nice low body fat percentage where you're looking spectacular, where you're looking way better than the average man. About 18 months ago, I was walking around quite heavy, like about 15, 16, 17% body fat, right? As you can see here. And the results with women weren't that great. The results with my self-esteem, with my physique weren't that great because I didn't have that type of attractive physique that I wanted. I had the muscle, I had the strength, but visually, aesthetically, it wasn't that great. 18 months later now, I've leaned down, I've got an attractive physique, face is dialed in, abs are showing, still getting leaner currently, but it's absolutely amazing the way you feel and the way you get treated once you get to a low body fat percentage, how attractive you look, and that obviously expands to other areas of life. Nowadays, if I go on a dating app, 100 matches, girls are messaging me first, messaging me crazy things. It's easy. If I go to a bar or a club, there's 5-10 girls who want to talk to me, and I don't have enough time. I have to choose. Like, it's genuinely that easy when you get to a low body fat percentage and you get that attractive physique. Most guys are walking around at like 18 to 25% body fat. Even 18% is quite lean for the average guy, right? But for people like us with high standards who want to be attractive, who want to look good, want to look much better than other people, that's just not going to cut it. It needs to be more like 8 to 12% body fat. That's going to be the best range. That's going to be the range where you're going to be looking like a fucking alien compared to other people because you're looking so attractive. You're looking so much better because you've put in that work to get that physique that nobody else has. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can get to that nice low body fat percentage that basically makes you the type of guy that women can't ignore. How to get there as quickly as possible. Obviously, you improve your health and your fitness as well. So it's a win-win situation all around, really. In this day and age, you have to be lean. If you want to have the most leverage with women, if you want to become the most attractive, if you want to have the most options just in all areas of life, really, becoming lean, getting dialed in, getting an attractive physique is going to help you everywhere. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the sweet spot for male attractiveness is going to be 8 to 12% body fat. If you're somewhere within this range, your face is going to start to look dialed in, your waist is going to be slimmer, you're going to have definition, separation in your muscles. All these things are very important to actually look good. When you're 15+% body fat, even with muscle, with strength like I had, right? Your physique just doesn't look that aesthetically pleasing anymore. Your waist is thicker, your face is round and bloated, you've not got that much definition, separation in your muscles. All these things are very important if you want to look good, if you want to look attractive. So you start to look like a bodybuilder on a bulk or a powerlifter, and that's just not the most attractive type of physique. Even though the difference in terms of percentage points is not that much, like say 15 to 10%, it's only 5% difference. But the difference in the physique, in the way you look and the way you feel is insane. At 15%, you've like barely got abs or something like that. Your muscles are still kind of looking like, you can see that you've got muscle, but they just don't look that good. Your waist is kind of thick, your face is going to be kind of round. At 10%, you're shredded, right? You've got like you've got the serratus there, you've got the gills, you've got the abs clear, you've got veins in your arms, in your shoulders, underneath your abs as well. Your face is looking sharp, dialed in. It really highlights your masculine features. You feel so much more confident. Your presence is different because you're lean. You've got something that nobody else has. You've got the type of physique that people wish to have. And if you're the guy that actually has it, it just gives you that type of confidence that's so important to have as a man. Now, even some guys who go to the gym, who kind of are into the fitness, are going to try to keep you soft. Now, most people who go to the gym are not lean, are not attractive anyways, right? But they're going to say things like, being lean is not healthy. You need to be 15, 16% body fat to have good testosterone, to feel good. That's not true. Like, I've been both, and I'm telling you it's not true. The guys who say that, they've never been lean anyways, so they wouldn't even know. The reason you'll hear bullshit like that from those guys is because they know deep down that they don't have what it takes to be attractive. They don't have what it takes to be lean. They can't control what they put in their mouth. They can't go to sleep early. They don't have the consistency, the discipline, the mindset to continuously do the things that are going to make them lean. And like I said, they've never even been there in the first place. So that's why you'll hear things that are designed to put you down, designed to keep you at a level where you won't surpass the type of people that are not able to do it themselves. Now, you've decided, okay, I'm going to be lean, I'm going to be attractive, I'm going to look sexy, I've got what it takes. Now, how do we do it? Number one is going to be your calorie deficit. This is going to be the amount of energy that's taken away from your body fat stored on your body because you're going to be eating less calories than you actually need to maintain your current body weight, right? go onto tdeecalculator.net or any total daily energy expenditure calculator. You put in some information and it gives you a number back. This number is the approximate amount of calories that you need to consume each day to maintain your weight. But like I said, we're not going to maintain our weight. We actually want to lose weight, lose body fat specifically. So you're going to take away an amount of calories from this number. Now, let's say your caloric maintenance that you get is 2,400 calories, right? A nice standard deficit is going to be around 500 calories. So 2,400 take away 500 is 1,900 calories. Now for a man, this is actually quite low in terms of calories, but if you're doing the correct things, for example, cardio, going to the gym consistently, getting enough steps like 10K plus, your maintenance is going to be higher than 2,400 anyways, which means your deficit will also have a higher amount of calories. So for example, for myself, I'm doing gym 4 to 5 times a week, half an hour incline walking, that's cardio every single day, and 10K plus steps a day, sometimes 15K. And my maintenance is around 2,900 calories, around 3,000, something like that. And my deficit when I cut is about 2,500 calories or 2,400 calories, which is quite easy to actually sustain. If I'm eating 2,400 calories a day and I'm using some techniques that I'll talk about as well, like eating enough fiber, drinking enough water, getting enough protein, eating only whole foods, it's quite easy to actually lose weight. Even with the leanness that I'm at now, with the low body fat percentage, which automatically makes it harder because your body wants to keep on to that body fat. But when you're doing the correct things and you've pushed your activity to a level where you have enough calories as well to make it easier for yourself, it's not that difficult to get lean. Of course, you still feel hungry, you still feel like you could eat more, but that's just what you have to deal with to actually get lean. And that's what most people can't deal with. That's why most people are not lean. They can't deal with sticking with the same foods every day. They can't deal with accepting that hunger is going to be there sometimes, and that's fine. And that's why most people are just fat, really. Now, you can push the deficit further, especially if you're a higher body fat percentage. Let's say you're around 20%, 25%, 30% body fat. You can definitely go to around 1,000 calorie deficit. I'd say that's the most really that you should do. Otherwise, it just gets like too little food. But 1,000 calorie deficit is sustainable if you're at a higher body fat percentage like that. You basically need to choose an appropriate number of calories, an appropriate calorie deficit for your own body fat percentage and what you feel like you can sustain for a long period of time. When you're eating whole foods, you're eating enough fiber, you're drinking enough water, you're doing the cardio, whatever calorie deficit you choose should be sustainable until you're near your goal. So if that's 500 calories, that's fine. If that's 1,000 calories, that's great. The types of food that I recommend for you to be eating whilst you're dieting, and just in general, actually, even when you're not dieting anymore, is going to be lean red meat, eggs, fruit, and vegetables. If your diet is made up of mostly these things, well, even only these things, that's all I eat, to be honest. But obviously, every once in a while, you have a cheat day, whatever, it doesn't matter. But whilst you're dieting, no cheat days, no bullshit, no Oreos, no cookies, no donuts, no pizzas, because that's not conducive to your goals. If you want to be attractive, you need to be doing the things that are conducive to being attractive. Eating donuts and pizzas and Oreos is not conducive to being attractive. I'm not doing 80-20. I'm not having some pizzas, like so a bit of pizza every day, a bit of cookies every day, because that's not what I want for myself. That's not what makes me feel good. That's not what makes me attractive. That's not what brings me closer to my goals, so I don't do it. Once you're eating clean foods only, whole, unprocessed foods, meat, rice, eggs, fruit, potatoes, you're going to see how much easier it is for you to lose weight. You're going to see how much better you feel. You're going to see how much better your skin looks, how more attractive you are. And that's what you need to do if you want to become attractive and you want to become lean in the best way, the most sustainable way, and the healthiest way possible. Completely eliminate all the processed food, all the junk food, all the extra sugar from your diet, and see how much better you feel and see how much better you look. The difference is insane. And that's what most people don't even realize that you can get. It's literally like taking a drug. People take Ozempic, right? People take drugs to actually get them lean, and yet they don't even eat clean foods yet. They don't even cook themselves and eat whole unprocessed foods yet. So that's genuinely insane. Now, for your macronutrients, this is what it should look like. Your protein needs to be at a nice, safe level of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So me, for example, I'm 170 pounds now. So every day I'm eating about 170 grams of protein. I'm actually eating a bit more than that because I like protein. It keeps me full, it's nice. But you need to be eating at least, well, not at least, but around 170 grams of protein, or 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, right? Your fats are going to be at a minimum, a bare minimum of 0.33 grams of fat per pound of body weight. Ideally, it's going to be a bit higher, like maybe half a gram of fat per pound of body weight, but at a minimum 0.33. And then the rest of your calories are going to be made up of carbs. That's going to give you energy to lift weights in the gym and keep your brain functioning optimally as well. So that's going to be what your macronutrients are made up of. So you get the foods that I talked about, the red meat, the eggs, the fruit, the rice, the vegetables, right? And then you get your macros, and you split them up how they need to be split up. So you get a scale to weigh your food. You go onto MyFitnessPal, which is an app to track your calories and macros, and then you input everything into there, and it's going to tell you the amount of calories that you're eating, the amount of the macros that you're eating as well. And then you adjust the amounts of food that you're eating based on your personal needs. If you need 2,500 calories, then you adjust the amount of foods that you're eating by, you know, adding or taking away weight, so you get 2,500 calories. And the same thing for the macros, you adjust the different types of foods that you're eating and the amounts, so you can get, you know, a certain number of fats, a certain number of proteins, and a certain number of carbs. Now for your meal timings, as long as the total amount of calories and the macros are equated, it doesn't really make a difference. It's just what works best for you. For me personally, I have like a small breakfast and then 2 larger meals later. So 3 meals a day with no snacking. That's what works best for me. In terms of snacking, especially, right, I would recommend no snacking, because it's not a proper meal. It doesn't fill you up. It's something it's just something that makes you entertained, right? People snack when they're bored. People eat cookies or crisp when they just want something to do, when they just feel a little tinge of hunger and they just grab the fucking cookies, and that's why people are fat, right? That's not what we do. I would recommend for you to wait for your actual meals. You have set meals that are prepared and you wait for them. If you're hungry in between your meals, that's good. Hunger is your friend. When you're hungry, you're likely losing body fat, because your body wants to eat, it wants to maintain its weight, right? So that's why it's making you hungry. When you can resist that urge to eat just because you feel a bit bored, you get a little craving, you maybe feel a slight tinge of hunger, and you can actually stick to your calories and your macros and the specific meals that you've planned for yourself for the day, and you can do this every single day. You get the discipline to actually stick to what you've told yourself that you're gonna do, right? That's when you get lean. Like, it's as simple as that. You stick to the exact calories, the meals, the macros that you've planned for yourself, and you completely eradicate the type of actions that people who are overweight do, like just eating randomly to entertain themselves and eating bullshit as well at that. You completely eradicate those types of actions, those types of behaviors, and you stick to what you said you're gonna do, and you get lean, you get shredded, you get a much better physique than other people, because you're the type of guy that actually has the discipline to do those things that those people can't do. Most people get a little bit hungry and they start panicking. They have to go to the cupboard and grab some Doritos. Meanwhile, they're like 30% body fat and they've got 2 years worth of stored energy on their body. So there's no need to worry. Like, most likely you have enough stored energy in your body to last you a long time. Maybe not 2 years, right? But a long time, like definitely 6 months plus. Now, obviously, we're not going to fast or anything to do that. That's not going to be conducive to having an attractive physique and to keeping and building muscle, right? But when you're hungry, just know that it doesn't mean anything. It means that you're actually doing the right thing. You're losing body fat. Your body is telling you, okay, we should eat to maintain our weight, because your body always wants to maintain. It wants to maintain homeostasis. But you have to lean into that discomfort and actually realize, okay, when I'm hungry, that's a good thing. That means I'm actually doing the job that I'm supposed to do. That means I'm doing it effectively. There's things you can do to minimize the hunger, right? Because hunger is uncomfortable, right? But regardless, sometimes you're gonna feel a little bit like, oh, I could eat an extra, 500 calories. I could eat that donut, that crisp that's over there. You shouldn't have that in your house anyway, but let's just say I could eat something extra. I could eat some junk food. You'll always have those types of thoughts. I get those thoughts even now. The thing that you have to do that most people can't do is to say no. To say yes to things is easy. Everyone can say yes, but to say no to the things especially that are gonna detract from your goals, to detract from your attractive physique, you have to be able to decline that, and decline it happily, knowing that you're doing the best thing for yourself. Now, as you're dropping weight, you're gonna have to adjust your calories, because if you're 250 pounds and you're doing the same level of activity, but you've now dropped to 225 pounds, your body is going to burn less calories because you're at a lower weight, so it takes less effort, right? So just adjust your calories, maybe every month or so, every 2 months, just so you know that you're still going to be in the same type of deficit that you set for yourself at the start. If you're in a 500 calorie deficit and you're 250 pounds, well, that deficit is not going to be a 500 calorie deficit any longer when you're 220 pounds, because your body has to expend less energy to move your body, right? So just adjust the calories frequently, maybe increase the activity that you're doing so you can stay in a similar type of deficit and continue to drop body fat at the same rate. Now, when you're starting to get lean, that's when your mentality really has to take over. This is where you have to build the mental fortitude, the discipline to actually get to where you want to be. To go from 25 to 20% body fat is not that hard. It's quite easy. You might not even have to track calories. You just have to stop, feeding yourself bullshit every day. But to go from 15 to 10%, there's a threshold effect to go from 15 to 10% body fat. Even though it's just a 5% difference, the same as 25 to 20, because we're already quite lean, your body is going to look drastically different at 10% than at 15%. At 15%, like I said, you're just kind of average, to be fair. At 10%, that's when you look like a model. And because this difference is so noticeable, your body is not going to make it easy for you to get there. Your hunger hormones are going to rise. You're going to feel hungry in between meals. And these things are fine. These are not bad things, scary things to be afraid of. This is just natural. This is what your body has to do naturally. And because it's so hard to do these things, because it's so hard to resist those cravings, resist those temptations, this is where the mental fortitude comes in, the discipline. This is where it's really make or break, right? This is where you're going to see if you can actually be that type of person who can handle it, who can get to that goal just because they've built the discipline required to get there. Most people can't. That's why most people are not lean. Most people are not attractive. This is where you really see the type of men who are able to do those things that are required to get to the physique that they want. It's a good thing that it actually takes this sacrifice, this barrier of entry to get to a lean, attractive physique, because otherwise everyone would have one and the results that you get from it would no longer be as spectacular. So it's actually a thing to be happy about, that to get the type of attractive physique that you want, you have to build the mentality, the mental fortitude, the discipline to become the type of man that actually can ignore what their body might be making them feel in the moment and focus fully in what you actually want and the results that you're going to get from it. And that type of discipline and effort is also a personality trait that's going to be attractive to women, and your results with your physique show that. Now, of course, there's things that you can do to minimize the hunger, for example, for drinking more water, going on walks when you feel hungry, so you're not just eating out of boredom, eating lots of fiber. For example, right now I'm eating lots of green beans, lots of boiled green beans. Those keep you quite full. When I'm eating, for example, my main meal would be beef, rice, and green beans, and then some tomato sauce as well. That's going to be a meal that keeps me quite full, has a lot of fiber in it, and I still feel hungry in between my meals. I still feel hungry sometimes, and I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that because I know that's what it takes to reach my goals, and that's what most people can't handle, and that's why most people don't have the type of physique that's so attractive. As for your sleep and your training, these things are important to optimize, especially when you're in a deficit, because you've got less margin for error, right? Your sleep, minimum 8 hours. I sleep like 10 hours a night, because obviously I'm not a fucking weasel who sleeps deprived himself and then expects the best results out of life, right? But minimum 8 hours, get earplugs, get a blindfold, sleep in a cold, dark room, and that's going to give you a high quality sleep. That's going to allow you to attack the day, to make you feel optimized, to make your hormones balanced so that you don't feel too hungry, because when you sleep deprive yourself, you feel more hungry, you're going to eat more, you're not going to get lean, right? Simple as that. And obviously you're going to have more energy for your workout, you're going to recover better when you actually take your sleep seriously. So that's very important. Then for your training, specifically in the gym, 2 sets until failure, all your exercises. You don't need to be doing too much, especially again when you're in a deficit, because you have less ability to recover. So do what you need to stimulate muscle growth. You can still build muscle in deficit, and then get out of the gym and continue doing the things that are going to allow you to stay lean. As for the cardio, when you're trying to lose body fat, it is technically optional, and I've lost body fat without doing specific cardio, right? Like incline walking on the treadmill, like I do now. But it is a lot easier to sustain your diet because you get to eat more food. If you eat the calories back from the cardio that you burn, you get to eat more food and more carbs specifically, which means more energy for your workouts in the gym. And overall, it's just better to do. So I would recommend to do that. The type of cardio that I do is just incline walking on the treadmill. 4.5 kilometers an hour speed, 12% incline. I do that for half an hour. It burns around 280 calories for my body weight, right? And that's enough for me. I do it every single day, and I just eat back the calories so I can eat more carbs, which again fuel my workouts and make me feel better. Increasing the amount of steps that you do per day is also a valid way of increasing the amount of calories that you can eat, right? If you're doing, 3,000 steps a day, your caloric maintenance is going to be a lot lower than someone like me who's doing 15,000 steps a day, right? And you can actually go onto Google and find a steps to calories calculator to estimate the amount of calories that you're burning from the amount of steps that you're doing. So that's quite useful. It's quite an easy way as well to go for a walk, every 2 hours you go for a 20-minute walk, something like that. And that over the day, when it stacks up, you're going to be burning quite a lot of calories extra than someone who just sits down all day and does nothing, right? When you start to do these things consistently, and you start to get a more attractive physique, and when you actually start to look really good, right, and you experience the benefits, the way people treat you, the amount of attention you get from women, the way you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror, right, honestly, that type of motivation is more than enough to keep you doing those things, to keep you maintaining that physique and obviously making it better as well, to keep living that lifestyle that allows you to get an attractive physique, because you never want to lose those things again. I personally could never go back to the body fat percentage that I was, right? It wasn't even that high compared to a lot of people, right? But still, the difference to where I'm at now and where I'm going to get to as well in the future, the difference is just too insane for me to ever think about, nerfing myself like that as well, ever going back down to that level. You need to shift your mindset from seeking comfort to actually going and getting the things that you want. Like I said, not most guys, every guy in this world who doesn't have an attractive physique wants to have an attractive physique, whether they admit it or not. It's just that most of them are genuinely not able to commit to do the things long term that will actually take them there. You cannot be that type of person. You cannot be the type of man that wants something and doesn't do anything, doesn't do everything in their power to go and get it. You have to be the type of person that actually does the things that it takes to get there. And that's when you start to feel really happy, really fulfilled in yourself, because you're actually living true to yourself. If you want something and you can do it, but you don't, then you're not living true to yourself, and that's what makes you miserable, basically. And the people that do that, the average guys who are not able to go and get their goals and achieve the things that they want, they are miserable and they deserve to be miserable. They're miserable with their physique, with their dating life, with the way people treat them. And that's what happens when you don't go ahead and put in the actions consistently to take you closer to where you want to be. Don't live like that. It's not a good place to be. I was there before. Even though I was trying to get an attractive physique, trying to be lean, I wasn't doing the things consistently that I needed to get there. But as soon as I started doing them and I managed to change my mentality, managed to change my identity to someone who is lean, who is attractive and does the things that it takes to get there, that's when my whole world changed. And I experienced the benefits that I experience now with my physique, with my dating life, with everything really. And it's just absolutely amazing. So you need to get there yourself. Take into account what I've said in the video, change your reality, change the way you look, change the way people treat you, change your physique. You're going to see what I'm talking about. If you do want more help to build an attractive physique, going more into depth in the diet stuff that I talked in the video, about losing body fat, about building muscle to get an attractive physique, about changing your mentality to actually become the type of person to do that, check the top link in the description. That's my program, my community, where I've got people in there who are completely changing themselves, completely changing the way they think, completely changing their habits and their actions so they can get to an attractive physique. That's where you're going to get help from me personally. You can ask me questions, ask me anything you're unsure about, so you can know that you're doing the right thing to actually get that type of physique and completely change the results that you get in real life, in dating life, with the way you look, right? If you're more interested in one-to-one mentorship, then check the second link and that will be there as well.